Okay, we're going to move on now to updates from the different parts of life in the district, from the three leaders of the three hubs that we have in the district. I'm going to ask first our district chair, James Tebbott, to first of all talk about, or he might not be doing it in this order, a chair's update, but also to speak a little about the work in the Mission and Leadership Hub. Thank you very much, James.
Thank you, Peter. It's very good to see everybody this evening. Thank you for joining with us. Yes, I do just want to sort of offer an initial reflection, just conscious of the fact we've been going for a year, just over a year. And we always knew there was going to be a transitional period. I don't know whether we quite realised how pulling 5 different organisations with often different practices and cultures together was going to take was going to be quite as complicated as it's proved to be, and as time consuming. It's one of those things we're set up for resources for running an ongoing operation, and of course each and every one of us who's closely involved needs to sometimes take more time to communicate or set up or establish a relationship or pull a group together for the first time before things get into a pattern and a routine where we're running more smoothly. So it's certainly been hard work, but I'd also want to suggest that I think actually we've done reasonably well in the first year. I say that very cautiously, and I don't say it arrogantly or complacently, because depending on where you're at with the particular concern that you've got, maybe you're thinking this used to work better in the old system. Maybe you're thinking, but I don't know what's going on quite as much as I used to in the past. Or maybe you're waiting for an outcome on something, and that's frustrating because you've been waiting, something hasn't been set up as quickly as you'd like. All of those possibilities might lead you to feel, hang on, I'm feeling not quite so sure about this. But I think, again, we can't get everything sorted out straight away, and I think we've made quite a lot of progress. And I think one of the joys has been pulling best practice from different parts of the previous 5 districts together in various ways. So I think we're stronger now in some ways than we were before. I think of, for example, just pulling together the probations committee, or learning from each other with stationing, matching practice, or I'm sure Heather will refer to the grants committee more a bit later, but just yesterday, hearing a really good practice in one of the former districts then informs the rest of us. So I think sometimes we're getting a better quality. We've certainly saved continuing to run 5 whole different structures together. We're doing it all together. So yes, we're having to be understanding it's taking time to put it together. But I do think we've made quite a bit of progress, and certainly feels better to be at this point this year than last year, when there was a lot that was unfamiliar for us. So again, I don't want to be complacent, and I don't want to overstate or overspeak, but I think we're okay. I think we're doing reasonably well, with of course much that we've still got to pull together, much more progress to make, and we're not just yet in a place where I can say we're settled, we're running smoothly. We continue to hold fast to the principles on which we came together, that we're here for mission, that the district isn't there to be an empire in its own right, but is there to support circuits and local churches. When we're able to do that by giving resources, money or people or advice, then that's a good thing. Sometimes I think our interventions have also helped us to be a bit safer on 1 or 2 things that are important. And we do know that when we're not safe together, then people often do get hurt, or we store up trouble for later in one way or another. So I think we're still trying to do that. We're trying to do that in a collaborative, participatory way. We're trying to work as a team, and to model that as a team, in which we listen to each other. And I think in a way, although I was very regretting to miss the recent synod because of COVID and couldn't be with you, I did feel there was a very big silver lining, because it rather demonstrated actually the district was fine in its own right, and we had a leadership team who could take over, and it was all good, I think, in that respect. So I think that was a good thing. Again, we remember that when we come into a new place, as we have done with the district, we're in a new, unfamiliar landscape, and it does take time to orientate ourselves. And sometimes we can get frustrated with each other because things are strange and not familiar, and maybe we don't quite agree with some of the directions or missteps, or trying to work out how best to be and in the direction we should go. But I think we're trying to pull together, and I think that's good. For me, I sometimes think in my role, which is a huge privilege, but also a huge responsibility, and certainly huge hard work, I sometimes think I get the worst of it, but I also think I get the best of it, because I'm the one who gets around all parts of the district, delighting in meeting people and encountering people. And we do have some very, very special places in our large district, and very special people all over the place. So I'm very grateful for that. So those are some of the things I wanted to say, just in terms of, if you like, a little snapshot of where I think we are a year in. But then just to turn more specifically to the Mission and Leadership Hub, I'd want to say most of the functions, most of the strands in that have been going and all have been functioning for a little while. Groups pulled together, different people emerging to chair or to support those groups in various ways. Some, again, we've got to get further on than we have with others. It's always a work in progress. So some of the functions in our group have spun into others. Education's gone into Phil and Ministry of Vocations, communications to Heather, and admin and compliance. We've changed one or two things. Public issues, social responsibility, we've renamed that justice seeking in order to align with the Methodist Church's priority around that. I'm particularly pleased we pulled the mission coordinating group together, because that has quite a lot of responsibility for a lot of things, and not least for continuing to promote and unfold our New Places for New People programme. As some of you will know, we were able to present at Synod the initial district mission plan, also an eco policy, chiming in with Caroline leading our devotions tonight. And I'm particularly grateful to Caroline because she's allowed us some of her capacity to come and assist and support me in this hub in particular. So Caroline has taken on chairing the mission coordinating group, and we'll be working in one or two other respects as well. And not least, I'm going to hand over via Peter, if I may now, to Caroline to talk about, for example, the mission planning day that we're expecting later in the autumn. Thank you.
Thanks, James. So it's really wonderful to hear again that we're here to be God's people and to be part of God's mission, and that's the reason director of the district. And we had a district mission planning day last November, which was a great opportunity for people to come together at Manchester Central Hall and to begin that relationship building across the bigger district, to hear stories of mission, to share resources, to encourage one another. And certainly the feedback was that, we would want to do this on a fairly regular basis. And we're planning now the next district mission day for the 15th of November. So please just make a note of that date and begin to share that with people you know who would like to be with us, because this is a mission day that is open. There's an open invitation to come to this mission day, which will be, as I say, on the 15th of November from 10 till 3 at Warpton Methodist Church. I say it'll be an open day, but we'll need people to book in so that we can plan the day and cater for you and make it the best possible experience for yourselves. So in due course, the information with the booking and link will appear on the newsletter, for instance. But really, it's an open invitation because this is about equipping and inspiring and resourcing the churches and the local circuits for mission. And we're going to do that by bringing people together and having a conversation around those missional priorities that are connectional missional priorities that we're foregrounding in our own district mission plan. So I'm just really want to highlight that opportunity. Please take it away, put it in your diaries, mention it to people so that they can save the date, and look out for further information in the next week or two, and then make a booking to join us.
Thank you very much indeed to both you, Caroline, and to James for that really full insight into the work of that Mission and Leadership Hub and all the work that's going into that. Thank you. And that that day on the 15th of November sounds really great. Thank you. If you've heard something there that you think, oh, I wonder if I'd like to ask a question about that, please do put something in the chat. You'll only be able to send a message to Sam, who's running the Zoom tonight, via the NWED host. So if you want to send a message in the chat, it will only be seen by Sam and he will pass it on. But you'll only be able to send a message to NWED host in the chat. But please do so. We'd love to have some questions later on. Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on now to Reverend Phil Goff, who's going to present the report about the Ministry and Vocations Hub. And Phil, I hope you get through this. Phil's feeling slightly under the weather with a large bottle of Lucozade, probably out of sight, I think. But Phil, thank you for bearing with that, and we look forward to hearing what you've got to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Good evening, everyone. I want to share some pictures with you, so I hope this is going to work. So I want to begin by just saying a few words about 3Generate. I see that there are a number of people in the Zoom meeting tonight who were at the NEC this last weekend. And as I wandered around with my steward vest on, I was amazed at the number of people from the North West England district that were on the delivery team, adults, ministers, layfolk, who were enabling it to happen. So I'm just going to whiz through some of these photos. There'll be people here that you may recognise. There's Graham Kay with the President of Conference, no less. But really fantastic to see so many from the North West England district there. We had more young people there from across the 5 former districts, the new North West England district, than we've had before. I've not worked out the percentage of the whole number, but it's a growing event. There were over 2,000 young people this last weekend. Worship, loads of seminars, sessions, workshops, activities. It really was a fantastic weekend. Journey of a lifetime, it was called, and people were encouraged to make steps of commitment on their faith journey. The top photo on the left has the Vice President in the middle with some of our North West England district volunteers. This is quite strange. I've only taken pictures of adults because I didn't need consent for any of these, but just a reminder of how many North West England district folks were there. Here's Superintendent Ian from the Bramall and Wythenshawe circuit, who is beaming because his young people, I have permission to share this, are the dodgeball champions. So there's some of the young people from the Bramall and Wythenshawe circuit who became the dodgeball champions at 3 Generate. So there's a very, very happy Superintendent Minister there. And our congratulations to those young people from Bramall and Wythenshawe. I think everybody who went had a fantastic time. And may we just record our thanks to the district for its support for the tickets for young people to be there and travel costs as well. I do believe it's a significant event, and I hope we can find ways of building on its success in the district. As we have had in previous years, we hope to have the new youth president, Genesis, come and join us, hopefully for a weekend, so that we can get Genesis around several parts of the district. So thank you for 3 Generate. James mentioned our probationers committee. It meets for the first time tomorrow. And just for your prayers, we have 3 probationers in our district this year. On the back row next to Nicola, who's our probationers secretary on the far right at the back. Next to her is Michaela. She's in the Blackpool and Southfield circuit. In front of her is Deacon Debs in the Bramall and Wythenshawe circuit, who's our first year diaconal probationer. And next to her on the front row is Sam Morris, who's a second year diaconal probationer from the Cumbria circuit. In the middle at the back is Anna from Chester and Stoke district, who share with us in our probationers group. And on the left is Obeth, who candidated from the Liverpool district in its former existence. Obeth is also in the Chester and Stoke district now, and it's good to have him. He's holding a laptop which has the picture of Christvin. Christvin candidated from the former Lancashire district, and he's over on the Isle of Man. So we've got closer ties with the Isle of Man this year through our work with probationers. Please pray for our probationers group. Second in at the back from the left is Deacon Jude, who's our probationers chaplain for this year. So we've had our first meeting of the probationers group there and probationers committee tomorrow. This coming Sunday, we've got district online worship, which is our monthly Zoom worship, the second Sunday of the month. And there's Helen Bolton from Bolton, who's here tonight, one of our regional officers for safeguarding with Jack, and they're both going to be contributing on Sunday night as they share with us some of the resources that are available for a safeguarding Sunday in November. So it's an early look at the resources that people might like to use then in their churches in November. We're very grateful to Helen and to Jack. If anybody needs the Zoom code for that service, please get in touch with Sam or myself. The details are in the district newsletter. but thank you for your support for the district online worship. It's good to see Christy here tonight. We're very grateful for all of our partnership with the Learning Network. And we've got 2 retreat days for lay employees. Hopefully this has got out around the district. One is on site at Leyland Methodist Church on Monday, the 24th of November. 2 days later, an online version of the same. So again, we're grateful for the resourcing of that lay employees retreat day for the North West England district. On Saturday, the 8th of November, the Saturday before the mission day that Caroline's been talking about, we're delighted to have Reverend Professor David Wilkinson from the Equipping Christian Leadership in an Age of Science organisation based out of Durham. He's coming for a kind of CDIM, continuing development in ministry, or further training for local preachers, worship leaders, imagination and intellect, sharing Jesus in an age of science and technology. It's free to attend that event. It's at Harwood Methodist Church in Bolton. We're very grateful to them for hosting us for the day. But this is the first of what we hope will be an inspiring series of continuing development type days for people. It's open to anybody to come, not just ministers, local preachers, worship leaders. And we've got a good number who've already booked in. So we're looking forward to having David with us for the day. Our EDI-JDS group are very excited about the first book club in the district, a reading group reading this book by Alex Clare Young, Transformations, Grounding Theology in Trans and Non-Binary Lives. We've got 18 people who've booked into that reading group, which is fantastic. It does mean we've a couple of spaces available. We're meeting then monthly on a Tuesday evening to discuss what we've looked at together. But we're very pleased to have this book club starting next week. It has its first meeting next week. And the author, Alex Clare Young, who works part-time for JPIT, is going to join us for a very special meeting with the author sometime in March when we've all read the book and we can talk about it. And I think this is finally, yes, our Advent reflections, which begin on the 30th of November and take us through Advent, are on the theme of life light. We're going to see that one solitary candle built up over Advent as we consider the words of the prologue in John's Gospel. Life light, that life was light to live by. We've had a good response of people offering to write reflections for our Advent series, but there is space for more. So if anybody would like to consider offering a written reflection on a theme that we can give you in those 4 weeks of Advent, then it's going to be good to share that. There'll be little videos available on the weekends introducing the week that's coming up. So that's a little snapshot of some of the things that we have going on in the Ministry and Vocations Hub. Thank you, Peter.
Phil, thank you very much. That was great. All the pictures of all these lovely smiling faces of people at the NEC. It looks like a fantastic weekend. And thank you for all that. And I'm sure we all send our prayers and good wishes for the work of the Probationers Committee starting tomorrow. Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, we're going to move on now to Heather Ferguson, who's our District Secretary for Administration and Compliance. Heather, may I invite you just to share your thoughts about the work of your hub? Thank you.
Good evening, all. So I'm feeling like I'm going to struggle here compared to Phil's very, very exciting and interesting report about all the wonderful things that are coming up in the district. But I will try, because I'm trying to offer you money. And that's where I'm coming from this evening. So at the most recent synod, we delivered some grants workshops. And some of the feedback received at those is that it would be really good for us to host other similar grants workshops so that other people can also attend those and to learn a little bit more about the grants that are available through the district. So I thought I would use my 5 minutes just to give you a quick run through in terms of grants in our district. So some of you have looked at the attendees, and some of you have actually received a grant from us. So that's positive, but I'm not sure if everybody has. So I will just very, very quickly talk about the process as to how you may want to apply for a grant. We have a grants committee, which is made up of volunteers from across the district and who meet 4 times a year. to review grant applications. A lot of work went before that in terms of agreeing a policy and sort of sharing good practice from other districts and such, until we were in a position where we were happy with a policy that we could roll out and actually start taking applications towards. So we split it into small grants and large grants. Briefly, small grants, that is up to £1,500, and it can be for trying something new, or otherwise known as seed funding. It can be for low-level training. It can be for small purchases, towards warm space projects, and also, as Phil has talked us through, 3Generate. We want to help as many young people as possible in our district attend things like 3Generate, and we will do our utmost to help that to happen. A small grant is one way that we can do that. Any applications that come in that are over 750, we would expect some form of local contribution, but that does not necessarily have to mean money. It could well be in some other resource, such as volunteer time, etc. And we do try to have around about a 2-week turnaround, generally speaking, on any small grant applications that do come in. We appreciate a committee that only meets 4 times a year. For a small grant, that might well be that might be a barrier to some projects across our district. So we do try and turn those around as quickly as we can. Large grants, they are for usually up to £30,000. And can again be for larger purchases, obviously, property projects, personnel. So in terms of recruitment, it could also be for missional projects and environmental improvements. And that could be for a one-off grant, or it could be phased over up to 3 years. With that, a large grant application, that's a slightly longer process, clearly because it's for more money. So with this one, a reviewer will be allocated from the grants committee, who will then make contact with the applicant and liaise with them over any sort of questions, etc., that may come up as part of the application form, and will then work with the applicant to get that application into a position where it can then be taken to the next committee for review. So we have obviously an application form for each, a small grant and a large grant application form. It goes without saying the large grant does have slightly more detail to it, because obviously it's a larger amount of money. We have a grants policy, which is available on the website as well. And of course, we always say we are not a scary bunch. Some people at the workshop said that they'd been put off applying for a grant because they weren't entirely sure how favourably their application form would be looked at. They didn't know whether or not that people might think it was a stupid idea. No idea is a stupid idea at all. You know, the whole idea of the grants is so that you can try your slightly mad ideas. You know, that's what we're there for. It's to give you that little bit of rein to actually say, okay, it might not work, but let's try this. And from then, what else could happen? You know, like you're planting a seed, and the whole idea is how we can grow our church and our communities. So that's why we're here. So no idea is a silly idea. We will ask for some feedback as to the money that's been spent and any impacts that have sort of happened as a result of your funding. And again, if it hasn't worked, if the whole idea was to try and bring more people in and that doesn't work, that is okay. Don't be afraid of that. The idea is that you're trying and you're exploring opportunities. So just to give you very briefly some ideas of what the committee has funded up to press, and it has funded quite a lot of things. So this is a very, very small idea. But we've had a Christian adventure holiday for disadvantaged young people. We've had digital screens that have gone on in the front window of a church that's in a very, very busy town centre. We have had Pizza and Praise, and that has been for a pizza oven in a bid to do church differently in one community. And they're running Friday evening Pizza and Praise sessions as a different way of encouraging families in and a different way of worship. Creation of a large youth space via an extension, redevelopment of a building to enable better community access, youth work training, and of course, 3Generate. We want to help young people attend. So that's just a very, very brief sort of summary of some of the things that we have funded. Our next committee is in January. It's on the 12th of January. And I would encourage anybody that is considering putting an application in to contact us. We are here to help. So if anybody needs any support with any application forms or wants to mull over an idea with us, we are here to be spoken to and to help. We are also, if anybody is looking to do any additional voluntary roles, we are also seeking new committee members to come and join us on the grants committee. So if anybody does feel that they have skills to offer and that they are being called perhaps to come and join us, then please do make contact with me, and I'll be happy to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Heather. I love the sound of pizza and praise. That sounds like a great thing. And I don't know how anybody could think you were scary, Heather. I'm sure that's not. You must have misheard that, I think. Well, thank you. That sounds some really exciting projects being funded through the district there. Thank you very much indeed. Okay, during each of these sessions, we want to shine a bit of a spotlight on each of the mission areas in turn. And this evening, we're going to focus on Cumbria. And I'm going to invite David Newlove to speak to us about the Cumbria Mission Area. David, thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Good evening. Hello, everybody. I'm sort of feeling too, Heather, that I should have had Phil's memo and done some nice pictures, but you've just got me. So sorry about that. Cumbria Mission Area. Much of our work last year was taken up in forming the Cumbria Circuit. That's a circuit that's coterminous with the Cumbria Mission Area, and we've achieved that. Praise God. 1st of September we launched as the Cumbria Circuit, and we've started and we're legal. A lot of talk around, you know, should we have done that before the district merged, and actually I think we've benefited greatly from all the work that's happened across the district. That's put us in a mindset, in a framework where we could do our own merging and develop that. So that helped us and made the path smoother for us as we brought that together. When we brought the circuit together, we had 3 key words. One was about being collaborative, both in terms of lay and ordained work across the whole area. Being co-creative, that we build this together. When we come together and somebody says, "Oh, I'm not quite sure about this. Why don't you do this?" That we've listened and we've built that in, and we've built the circuit together. And cohesive, as in whatever we create fits and works together. And those words were about the Cumbria Circuit. It's very much a part of the Cumbria Mission Area, and I think now the work begins that we start understanding those 2 different aspects of the area that we live and work and mission in. Both coterminous. For me, as superintendent of the circuit and mission area lead of the Cumbria Mission Area, I'm sometimes thinking in my mind, where am I acting? Who am I acting on behalf of? And in some cases, it's clearly on behalf of the North West England District. In other cases, it's part of the Cumbria Circuit. More often than not, it's for both. That gives us a unique perspective on mission areas in the North West England District, and it would be good to work on that and reflect on that, particularly with other mission area leads, and to see how that helps us all understand what it is that we're called to. In Cumbria, we've chosen as a theme for this year, living good news, and that applies both to the mission area and to the circuit as we seek to understand what it means for us to live out the good news that we believe in and share. So what have we done as a mission area? We've worked as part of the environmental policy, and are keen to see that develop across the whole mission area of Cumbria, and I want to develop that. Also, our rural aspect, we have some urban areas. The majority of Cumbria is rural. If you look on the infographic map of the North West England District, Cumbria is the top half of the whole area, virtually. Our membership doesn't match that, of course. Some of this more urban circuits south of the district match us, but we have a big area to cover. A lot of that is hills and valleys and beautiful countryside, and that's a perspective for us as a mission area. We're also, and therefore, highly agricultural, and Cumbria Agricultural Chaplaincy is a part of our Northwest England District Ministry. We have a County Harvest Festival, the first one on Sunday, and looking forward to that, bringing people from across the county to that. We're also in conversations with developing some work on the 25th anniversary of the foot and mouth disease next year, which ravaged Cumbria agriculture 25 years ago. And our work in that has been picked up by others across the country and national media as well, to look at how we hold that and remember that next year. Much of our work also is ecumenical. We are in the covenanted partnership in an ecumenical area of Cumbria with the Church of England, the United Reformed Church and the Salvation Army, and we share fully with them in that. Our strategy or structure is titled God for All. That title came in before the connection chose that title, which gives us a little bit of confusion at times, but we know what we mean. And in our ecumenical covenant, we talk about 4 key areas to our discipleship: following daily, treading gently, speaking boldly, and caring deeply. And it just feels at present that the 2 things that out of those 4 that we are called to reflect on at present is about that boldness of our speaking, and the way in which we care for each other and care together for our county and for all. Because we're in this unique situation as both as a mission area and as a circuit and part of this ecumenical covenant, we're able to develop and work in mission areas. A group of churches from the 4 denominations working together, ordained and lay, and those mission areas are developing now. They've been in place for a number of years, and some have changed, some have merged together, some have changed shape when staff have changed, some have changed because boundaries have changed for parishes or for deaneries or archdeaconries, and etc. With us becoming one circuit, we've removed all of our circuit boundaries so that we can deploy our ministry and focus on our mission fully in those mission communities. And that's really helpful for us in advancing that vision that we see the work of the church and the message of the church, the good news of the church, being not only lived out but spoken out across the whole county. So we're in a good heart, and we're looking forward to moving on now in our work together, both with yourselves in the rest of the district, but also with our ecumenical partners in the county. And in terms of current work and current priorities, we have looking for 2 people in stationing next year, and profiles are in, and I was going to say fingers are crossed, but we're praying and believing in God that he'll come through, and we'll get to where we need to be again. Thank you.
David, thank you very much. That was really great. And I'm sure we all celebrate the ecumenical work that's taking place in Cumbria and has been taking place in Cumbria for many years. And thank you for all you and the team have done to establish the Cumbria circuit a year after the Northwest England district. It was no mean task, I think. Thank you. That's great. Thank you. Before we move on, we've had a question put in the chat. Heather, I'm going to direct this one to you, if that's okay, because it's an inquiry about a possible grant, and somebody has posted, I'm wondering if digital uplighters for a church which has started a youth outreach service might qualify for a grant. We borrowed some for the first one and felt the lighting made for a real atmosphere for the event. So I think the question is that something that would be appropriate to apply for a grant for?
So this is new lighting, not replacement lighting.
No,
This is
it sounds like it's new lighting, I think. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. I was hoping you were going to say that. Thank you. Thank you very much. I hope that answers the question. Thank you. And thank you to that person who posted that in the chat. Thank you, Heather. Okay. We want to move on to a really, what I think is a really good news story. And I'm going to ask Anthony Clues from the Caleb Project to speak to us for a few minutes about the work that he's involved with there. Thank you, Anthony.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. It's really nice to be with you. I hope you can all hear me okay. A few waves there. Thanks, Phil. I'm waving back. I come to you live from the seaside town of Hoylake on the Wirral. I look out of my office and I can see Snowdonia and the sea. Well, I could if it wasn't dark, but you get the point. So it's a beautiful place over here. Greetings from this part of the district. I'm really pleased to be able to share with you for a few minutes about the Caleb project, which I've been part of and leading for the last few years. But to do that, a little bit of a backstory first, if that's okay. A bit of a backstory of how we arrived at this place and how I arrived at this place. So some 6 years ago, I was in my 7th year of leading a fantastic Methodist church in Stoke-on-Trent called the Potter's House Methodist Church, or the Potter's Church as we became known. A big Methodist church, 500 plus people on a Sunday morning, 2 or 3 services, so a really big Methodist congregation. A really good church then, and it still is today. However, in the last few years of my time there at Potter's, I'd become convinced of a few really important things. At least I thought they were really important. Number one, big is not always beautiful. Big is not always the best. It is true what they say, sometimes good things come in small packages. I've learned something about that in terms of the church in the last few years. The second thing I'd learnt about leading a big church is this, that most of the growth in really big churches was coming in the form of transfers. So people who were Christians worshipping in other churches that were transferring into the new show in town, so to speak. Most of our growth was people coming from elsewhere. And that's not really why we primarily existed as a church. We were trying to reach new people, not just gather them from all over the place. The third thing that I was convinced of is that even a church of 500 people in a city of 500,000 was a drop in the ocean. Really a drop in the ocean. And the most important thing I'd become convinced about is this. We would reach more people for Jesus if we spread out rather than just tried to keep growing upwards. Spread out. So 5 years ago, I left my hometown of Stoke-on-Trent and I took up 2 positions in the church. Today, I work 50-50 Methodist Anglican. I'm the church planting officer in the Manchester Plus section of our new district. And I also work for the Liverpool Diocese, the Anglican Diocese, as a coach for pioneers and also helping that diocese plant new communities. So let me tell you a little bit about Caleb and the Caleb Communities Project that I oversee. The strap line for Caleb is this: encouraging, supporting and equipping new worshipping communities in the northwest of England district. It's worth stopping there just for a second and recognising different terms that are sometimes used to say roughly the same thing, so there's no confusion. New worshipping communities is often a term that we're using across the denominations today. I quite like it. In the past, we often call them church plants. Some people still do, church plants. Fresh expressions is maybe a term that you've heard of, or micro churches. And in the Methodist Church, new places for new people is a term that you might have heard of in recent times. Caleb is a new places for new people project, mainly in the Manchester Plus section of our district. And after 5 years now of overseeing this project, I've become convinced that if we're going to turn around numerical decline in the church, we need to start lots of new things, lots of small new things all over the place. Lots of new things have the potential to reach new people. I'm utterly convinced by that. You know, recent statistics in the Church of England, a guy called Bob Jackson, who's coming to our next Inspire event in March, look out for that. Bob is a statistician for the Church of England. And when he speaks, people listen because he's crunching the numbers. He said this, he said, churches that start new worshipping communities to reach new people on average grow by about 30%. Now, I want to be part of a church that's growing. not always facing the challenges of decline. Churches that have the courage to start new things to reach new people are on average growing by 30%. Good news, I think. Over the past few years, Caleb has enabled about 10 new worshipping communities to start in the Manchester and Stockport area. 7 of those communities are funded projects, more about that in a minute, and others we've just helped to get off the ground, and we're supporting them through coaching and occasional learning communities. There's a real variety of the new stuff that we're starting to see under the umbrella of new places for new people, and variety really is the spice of life. I love it. The diversity of God expressed in new worshipping communities. Under Caleb, we've got family communities. We've got a circuit that couldn't do kids work on their own in one church. So they have a project called Mac Families Together, where they've developed a new worshipping community for families in that part of our district. We've got arts-based communities. The Makers Nook in Manchester, an arts-based community. We've got international communities that are being birthed. The Indian Fellowship, the Hong Kong Fellowship. We've got rural communities as well. We've got a community that's started on an estate with a very specific geographical area, aiming to reach people that have got no history, no background in the church. So variety, things are happening all over the place in different spaces. One size no longer fits all, that's true to say. I haven't got long this evening, so I want to signpost you. In fact, if after this Zoom you could spend 5 more minutes, because I can't show the multimedia that we've produced now, I haven't got time. If you've got 5 more minutes when you log off this call, go onto the North West of England website, find the New Places for New People page, and you will find the brand new Caleb film. It's about 5 minutes in length, and it showcases 6 new communities, stories being told by the people that are actually on the ground doing it. It's brilliant. There's stories that we need to get out there. So maybe you can do that when we log off this Zoom this evening. What have we been learning through what we've been doing with Caleb and New Place and New People? I could say many things now, but I'm going to start by saying, get your foundations right. Start well. Take your time before you launch in to the new thing that you feel God is asking you to start. I talk about the 2 T's being vital at the beginning. The 2 T's. They are team and time. Even the best pioneer, who you could pay a lot of money to employ on their own, will only get you so far in planting a new worshipping community. You need a little team of people that start to meet together, pray together, listen to God together about what could happen in their context. A little team is vital. And in most cases, that team needs to make sure they've got the time. Because so often the willing people, the people that put their hands up, they've already got about 3 or 4 different titles and roles in the church as it is. We've got to release people with a vision to start new things and give them the time to develop the team, to get the good foundations in place. And whilst you're doing this, you've got to do some double listening. You've got to listen to God in prayer as a little team. Lord, what are you asking us to do here? What is our particular shape of a community here? Because what's happening down the road might not be what would work where you are. You've got to listen to God and listen to your context. What is your context telling you about what new worshipping community would best reach the people in your locality? Caleb, in our section of the district, does a couple of things. It gives out grants. Money helps. The resource that I'm really hungry to find is people, actually, first and foremost. That's the resource. People who are ready to be courageous with God and try new things. But the resource of money can help too. So through a process with Caleb, we offer a grant of £20,000 over 5 years, 65432. That's match funded where possible locally. We're looking to support projects on the margins in particular. That's always been at the heart of the Methodist Church, hasn't it? Where match funding can't be found, we find a way. But £20,000 over 5 years, match funded to maybe £40,000, that's going to help people start something new. But that's only part of it. Really important, I would say even more important than the money, is the support and coaching of people like me and my colleague Paul Welsh. Through travelling with the leaders, mainly lay leaders, I'm pleased to say, some ordained leaders as well, through travelling with them in a coaching context, supporting them, learning communities, an annual event called Inspire, where we want to really bless people that are having a go at things. The last thing I would say is this: I've been timing myself. I've had 9.5 minutes, and I know that there's going to be some Q&A as well, possibly. I believe this. In most of our Methodist churches, there are people sitting there on a Sunday and they've got something called a holy discontent. I was one of them, and I still am a bit. It's holy because they still love Jesus and they still love the church, but they're discontented. They're thinking that things should be different, because they've sat in that church for a long time and they've seen the decline. And they know that they've got to do different things to reach new people. They've got a holy discontent. I believe if we can channel those people with that holy discontent into trying new things, the potential for new places for new people projects like Caleb in our district is huge. We've just got to find them, support them, and encourage them to have a go. Check out the video after this Zoom, please, because you'll hear stories from the people on the ground that are actually doing this stuff. If you want to buy a book, this is the one you need to get hold of. It's called The 21st Century Christian. It's available on the Fresh Expressions website. At least it should be, unless it's sold out again. If it has sold out again, you want a copy, send me an email. I'll get you one from America. It's a lovely little book, and it helps people with those first questions when they start to think about starting something new in their context. It's the basis on which we coach people through our introductory session and how they join Caleb. It's brilliant. A second book, very quickly, Godsend. This is available. Fresh Expressions website. Godsend gives you the church planting cycle, how to start things from scratch. It's the framework for how we coach people through Caleb. It's brilliant. And you can even download the app on your phone, so you don't necessarily have to buy the book. Thank you so much for listening. And I'd love to tell you more, but time runs out fast. Thanks, Peter.
Anthony, wow, that was fantastic. Thank you for a really inspiring good news section there. That was terrific. Thank you. I've not heard that phrase, holy discontent. The two things I wrote down were holy discontent and inspire. And thank you so much for your inspiring 10 minutes there. That was really wonderful. I'm sure lots of food for thought for all of us. Thank you.